We're talking about how the coronavirus has dramatically affected college admissions. Hundreds of schools, including Harvard and Yale, will not require SAT or ACT scores this year, and many families wonder if that will lead to a permanent change. Well, the journalist Jeff Selingo got a rare inside look at the application review process he embedded in the admissions offices of Emory University, Davidson College, and the University of Washington. This is a very rare thing. This is unbelievable access. And his new book is called Who Gets In and Why? A Year Inside College Admissions. It's published by Scribner, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, which is part of Viacom CBS. And Jeff Selingo joins us now, first on CBS This Morning. Jeff, thank you for being here. The first thing I want to dispel for people out there is the idea that applying to college is some sort of meritocracy. Your book makes clear it is not.
No, it was never fair, and it never will be fair. Teenagers seem to think that a rejection from their dream college is an indictment on their life, but really what it really is about is all the agendas that colleges have, all their priorities that they have that come through in admissions. So they may want more full-pay students, more students from the Dakotas. So they have all these priorities that come through in admissions. So just because a college has a 25% acceptance rate doesn't mean you have a 1 in 4 chance of getting in.
Yeah, I love the detail that the typical admissions officer looks at an application for just about 7 minutes. Think of the hours and the agony that go into the application, and then a 7-minute review. But how has the process changed from the time when parents might have been applying to school to now their kids applying to school?
Well, their kids now are applying to so many more schools than parents did, 8 or 10. And so what's now happening is that the smartest kids from Buffalo and from Washington and from Seattle are applying to the same set of schools all across the country. And now you throw in kids around the globe applying to those same schools. So a school like Emory University, which is one of the schools that I embedded myself in, just 4 years ago, they had 20,000 applications. The year I was there last year, 30,000 applications. So a rise of 10,000 applications just in 4 years.
Wow. I know a lot of parents and a lot of kids right now are worried about how the pandemic will impact their application. They're not part of clubs they could have been part of. They're not volunteering where they might have volunteered. How will the pandemic affect the application process?
Well, the biggest thing, I think, is the SAT and the ACT. So tomorrow, the SATs was supposed to be given to 300,000 teenagers, and half of them have already been canceled. So what we're seeing, as you mentioned in the introduction, we have 400-plus colleges that have gone test optional this year, which means they're not using test scores. You don't have to submit them. But yet we still see students out there, seniors, trying to get a test score. Because in the ambiguity of admissions, we think that number really matters. And what I found in the year I was embedded in these 3 admissions offices is that high school grades and high school courses matter a lot more than that test score.
Yeah, and the grades matter throughout the senior year. So even if you're in, you've got to continue to do well because, or even if you're on the bubble, you got to continue to do well because those schools are still checking, believe it or not. Jeff, you know, with this inside look into the process, I'm curious, what would you change? How can these schools do a better job?
Well, one of the things I think they should stop doing is trying to recruit all these students who don't have a chance. In the book, I talk all about the direct marketing, and if you have a teenager who's been going to college, they probably get overwhelmed with mail in their mailbox and email. And those are from schools that are just trying to increase their application numbers. They have no desire in some cases to actually admit you. So one of the things I would change is to try to slow down on that and cut back on that direct marketing because you're increasing students' anxiety and you're encouraging them to apply when they have no chance.
Boy, Jeff, I wish your book would have been around when I was applying because you can just beat yourself up when you don't get into the school that you want. So when you say embedded, what exactly were you doing? Were you watching all the admissions officers look at applications so you could see their thought process? I'm fascinated by what you did.
Yeah, it was totally open process. I was allowed to be there whenever I wanted to be. I can look at any application, and I was reading applications with them. The only thing I couldn't do is identify them by name, but I could identify all the other details, which I have in the book. And so I would sit there and I would read and listen to the conversations they were having about individual students. I was there during what they call committee, where they meet around a big table and they're voting up or down in just a couple of minutes, whether to accept somebody or to reject somebody.
You got to hope that they're in a good mood, that their tummies are full and they've had a good night's sleep. So if we want to get into college, what's the best thing we need to do?
control what you can control. And so focus on your high school courses you're going to take and the grades. Don't worry about what happens in that admissions office because so much of that is out of your control. Do the best you can do, participate in activities, and then let the chips fall where they may.
And read this new book by Jeff Selingo
that's
because
right.
honestly, the scenes in the book are amazing. You actually see admissions officers moving kids from admit to not admit and then back.
Man.
And you're like, oh, my God.
Oh, man. Yeah.
It's amazing, Jeff. Congratulations, and thank you for joining us. And the book again is Who Gets In and Why. It is on sale now. You'll want to pick it up.